One last good news story coming out of Ireland this time. They had 2 referendums on the weekend and they lost out big. So the first one was regarding the definition of family. The government wanted to change it from a relationship based on marriage to include other non-traditional relationships. Well, that fell over. The no vote was 67.7%. So very comprehensive loss there. The second referendum was to replace and change what they called old-fashioned language in the Constitution regarding the role of a woman. They wanted to change it with all DEI language, diversity, equity, inclusion. Get this, it's the highest no vote in any referendum in Ireland's history. It lost by 73.9%. That was the no vote. So it just goes to show that Ireland's ruling elites are completely out of touch with Ireland, which still remains, obviously, a conservative country, and their government does not reflect that whatsoever. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, indeed.
Well, the other lesson here is that governments shouldn't play woke games with constitutions because populations, and we saw this in October in Australia, people recognise the importance of a constitution. It's not a plaything for the latest fetish of woke progressive politicians. So leading up to this referendum in Ireland, all the polls said that the referendums would be passed, but the closer it got to the vote, the more people started to say, we're going to replace the term family with durable relationships. And people asked, what is a durable relationship? And we don't want vague generalities like that in the Constitution.
Which is exactly what happened with the voice.
Correct.
Right? The trajectory is exactly the same. You start with pretty broad support for the idea because there's a great deal of goodwill. In this case, in Australia, it was, goodwill towards Aboriginal people over there. It's goodwill to saying, you should be able to lead your life how you want to live your life. If you don't get married, no business of mine, right? So you start with that goodwill, but as people realise the implications of instilling that in the founding document of the nation, they start to wake up and go, hang on a minute, this is not what the Constitution is. It's not a political plaything for the moment, particularly when you are talking about such generalities. And it was the same with the voice. People said, well, we don't actually know what we're going to get here. We don't know what the consequences are. We don't know what the legislation is going to look like on the other side. And on that basis, we cannot support it. So you've got to ask the question, why would any government, and Ireland could have taken a good look at what happened here, continue down this road of trying to push referenda that clearly are not going to succeed? Even if you have good polling to begin with, woke referenda pushing agendas that are really of no concern of the Constitution, that could be dealt with in a legislative way, will always fail. So what's the point except to keep driving this sort of, if we just do it enough, if we just do it enough, if we just do it enough, people will get sick of it and they'll go, OK, just do it anyway.
Well, I mean, on redefining women's roles, the Constitution said that the Republic, or the nation of Ireland, recognised the importance of child rearing and would do everything they can to support women in their duties in the home so that they didn't have to go out and work at the expense of doing what they do in the home. Now, that's not all women, but that's one of the things that women do. They wanted to redefine that to say, we'll support carers. Well, the Irish people thought, well, most of these carers are actually women.
It's a moot point.
And what is written in the Constitution doesn't get read by everyone and then they start acting in a sexist manner because the Constitution says women do duties in the home. So politicians, as you said, they just keep bashing away at these things, trying to change public perception, and people have reacted saying, no, you're not going to use our Constitution to play your silly games.
And they're complete non-issues every single time.
I know.
It's just like, for crying out loud, this is not what people care about. Can you just stick to the main thing? Can you imagine how many issues Ireland is facing right now? And this is what their government sent them to referendums, plural, on? They would have had to pay for it too. We're back in Australia being like, yeah, we just paid $400 million for the last one. We feel your pain, Ireland.